This is my blood report taken recently. It contains details like complete blood count, liver function test, lipid profile, glucose and vitamin profile. Some of the details I do not know. Is it a good idea to upload this into an LLM like ChatGPT and get the advice or response from that? Can we take it for granted? Can we trust it? And this is what we look at in today's episode of Truly AI. At the end of this session, we will be able to understand to what extent we can trust and when we should never ever trust such responses provided by ChatGPT or such large language models. I am Dr. C.B. Abraham. Let us do it firsthand. Here is the report. I have uploaded this report to ChatGPT and asked this simple prompt. Explain this report in simple language in 4-5 bulleted points. Here is the response. Hemoglobin is slightly low, which may indicate mild anemia of reduced oxygen carrying capacity. Liver enzymes elevated. Cholesterol levels are high. Vitamin D level is low. Blood sugar markers are in the pre-diabetic range. The report suggests mild anemia, early metabolic risk, low vitamin D and slight liver stress, which usually improve with diet, exercise, sunlight, exposure and medical guidance. It looks like a medical advice by a doctor. To what extent we could be able to trust this? Remember, the machine had only the report. The machine doesn't know me. The machine doesn't understand my medical history. The machine doesn't know what is the diet I follow. The machine doesn't know am I having any medication and so many other things which a doctor surely asks for. Only based on the report, the system could be able to provide some response. It is not a medical response, but it is just the textual response based on the report. Remember, based on the training the system has undergone previously, it could be able to fetch the respective pattern, and based on that, it could be able to deliver this. It is not a medical advice, it is just a text generation based on the data provided. It cannot be taken as a medical advice. This is the report. Suppose when we give this report to a doctor doesn't look at the report in isolation. He looks at the case with the different angles. Suppose we focus only on 3 aspects. First, the history, that is the history of the patient. What is the age, the background, etc. Second, the medication, whether the patient is undergoing some medication, some medical issues. Third, the lifestyle, what is the lifestyle of the patient. Of course, there are many other aspects doctor considers. Suppose we focus only on these 3. When a new patient comes, suppose the patient is a 22-year-old athletic preparing for a competition, obviously the doctor looks at this report and correspondingly looks at this aspect, the age, the lifestyle and the medication. Suppose the patient is a 75-year-old senior citizen, obviously the doctor's diagnosis would be different. What we are trying to say is that we cannot take this report in isolation. We have to look at the whole other aspects. In simple terms, the context is important. In similar way, when a report is uploaded to the system, the response provided by the system will be influenced by the context. The analysis provided by the system cannot be taken into consideration because the system doesn't know the context fully. Therefore, the medical advice provided by the system can never be trusted from that angle. This is our blood report. As we know, as part of the training, the large language model must have gone through a huge number of such medical reports. Suppose these are such reports, and this is you, the unique individual with a unique health background. What the system has learned is that based on this medical report, it could be able to get some pattern. Maybe that pattern something like low hemoglobin mostly result in anemia, and high LDL cholesterol result in cardiovascular risk. Based on that pattern, the system recommends as the analysis. Remember, that has nothing to do with your case. You are a unique individual whose health profile is entirely different from others. Your medical history, your age, your medication, your lifestyle, and your body composition is different, and that cannot be estimated by others. Therefore, when a large language model like ChatGPT provides some analysis based on the report, remember, it only statistically fetches the previous information, identifies the pattern, and based on that it just generates some language. That is not a medical advice. Suppose we follow up with ChatGPT, not only asking for the analysis of the medical report, but suppose we were looking for some advice. Suppose this is the prompt. What should the patient do next? Given 2-3 bulleted points. Here is the response. Consult a doctor for proper evaluation. Mild anemia, slightly elevated liver enzymes, and pre-diabetic indicators should be reviewed. Improve lifestyle habits, focus on a healthier diet, regular exercise, and maintain a healthy weight. Correct nutrition deficiencies and monitor levels. Increase vitamin D through safe sunlight exposure, etc. Obviously, some of the advice is good and some is very general. Remember, without the context, whatever the advices provided by the system has no meaning. Therefore, we cannot take this as a medical advice. We can only consider this as some language generation. Therefore, language generated can never be equated as an expert's advice, especially in the case of health. So, what does that mean? We should never ever trust AI as far as health is concerned. Look at this. This is a thesis of one of my students. The thesis titled as Classification, Prediction and Early Diagnosis of Neurodegenerative Disorders Using Deep Learning. This thesis focuses on MRI data of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, and based on that a mechanism is provided to classify and predict such degenerative diseases. Obviously, it tried and tested using curated data, and based on the parameters it gives a very good result. Obviously, this is an academic report. Such academic reports have taken forward, medically tested, and the respective medical community has approved the usage of such systems. Yes, we could be able to use such sophisticated AI systems which are approved by the medical community, but not the such general purpose chatbot like ChatGPT, because the general purpose chatbot like ChatGPT are meant to generate language. It is not meant to provide advice. Therefore, especially in the case of medical cases, never ever take the advice of the ChatGPT, and it can only generate data. Generated data can never substitute a medical advice provided by a practicing doctor. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. See you in the next video. Until then, truly AI.